2 tires, same rack, same shop. One says Michelin, one says BFGoodrich. The Michelin costs you about $60 more per tire. That's around $240 on a set of 4. And here's the part nobody at that counter will say out loud. The same company owns both names, the same engineers, the same corporate playbook. You're not buying a better tire. You're buying a more expensive sticker. Most drivers walk right past the value brands on that wall. They reach for the logo they saw on a race car 40 years ago, and they hand over hundreds of dollars extra for rubber built by the very same parent company. That's the whole game. The premium badge and the cheap one you skipped are often cousins from the same family, poured in the same kind of plant, sharing the same paid-off technology. So here's what I'm giving you today. 3 simple checks you can run on any tire before you buy. 3 checks that tell you in about 30 seconds whether a budget brand is a hidden gold mine or a genuine gamble. And yes, this applies to the exact car sitting in your driveway right now. The sedan, the truck, the crossover with the worn fronts you've been putting off, whatever's on it, these checks work. I've stood on the business side of that counter. I've watched the price gun. I remember a guy come in for the cheapest tire in the store for his daughter's commuter car, and I watched a coworker walk him over to a set that cost $300 more, saying the budget ones won't hold up in the rain. Same casing supplier, same tread compound family. The only real difference was the margin on the ticket. Nobody pays me to say any of this. There are no sponsors on this channel. Every brand I'm about to name earned its spot or got called out on the numbers alone. Let me show you how deep this goes, and let me start with the biggest name on the wall, Michelin, the gold standard. The tire people, quote, like scripture. And for good reason, honestly. Michelin makes genuinely excellent tires. The Cross Climate 2, the Defender, the Pilot Sport line, real engineering, real test results, long tread warranties, some rated up to 80,000 miles. Here's what most people never learn. Michelin doesn't just make Michelin. Back in 1990, Michelin bought the Uniroyal Goodrich Tire Company for roughly $1.5 billion. That single purchase handed them 2 of the most recognized American tire names in history, BFGoodrich and Uniroyal. So today, when you stand at that wall, the Michelin, the BFGoodrich, and the Uniroyal in front of you all funnel up to the same French parent in Clermont-Ferrand, same corporate lab, same research budget, same manufacturing know-how flowing downhill from the flagship brand to the value brands. Now, here's the price gap that should make you angry. A Michelin Defender in a common size like 235, 65, 17 can run you around $180 to $200 a tire. Slide over to the BFGoodrich Advantage in the same size, and you're often looking at $130 to $150. The Uniroyal Tiger Paw can drop closer to $110. That's a swing of $60, $70, even $90 per tire, multiplied by 4. You could be leaving $300 on that counter for what is, at the parent company level, the same house of engineering. Why does the gap exist at all? Because the premium badge carries the marketing, the motorsport halo, the longest warranty. The value badge inherits the hand-me-down technology after the development is already paid for. The parent lets the flagship charge the premium, and the value tire quietly delivers 80-90% of the performance for a chunk less money. Here's my verdict on Michelin. It's a real tire and sometimes worth every penny at the top end. But if your budget is tight and you're driving a normal commuter, the BFGoodrich on that same wall is your inside move. But the badge tax doesn't stop with the French. Let me walk you to the American giant. Goodyear, the blimp, the name your father trusted, the Wingfoot logo stamped into 100 years of car culture, and people pay for that heritage every single day without blinking. Here's the thing nobody mentions. Goodyear owns Kelly. Kelly Springfield started making tires in 1894. That's one of the oldest tire names in America, older than most car companies. Goodyear absorbed Kelly all the way back in 1935. So for nearly 90 years, Kelly tires have been designed, engineered, and built under the Goodyear umbrella. Same corporate engineering, same plants in many cases, different sticker, different price. Look at what happens on the shelf. A Goodyear Assurance and a midsize sedan fitment might run $140 to $160 a tire. The Kelly Edge, built by the same parent, often sits around $90 to $110. That's a real gap of $40 to $60 per corner. $200 or more on a full set for tires that share a family tree and a factory lineage. Now, I'll be honest with you, because honesty is the whole point of this channel. Kelly tires typically carry shorter tread warranties than the flagship Goodyear line. You might see a Kelly rated for 45 or 50,000 miles where the Goodyear promises 60 or 70. So you weigh that. If you keep a car 8 years and drive it into the ground, that warranty gap might matter. If you're putting tires on a college kid's car or a second vehicle that barely sees 15,000 miles a year, that gap is almost meaningless, and the savings are very real. My verdict on Goodyear versus Kelly: you're often paying a heritage premium for the Wingfoot. Kelly is the quiet way to buy the same parent's engineering for less. Now let me stop for 1 second, because trust matters here more than anywhere. I run this channel one way. No tire company sends me a check. No shop sponsors these words. Every brand I name has to survive the exact same checks I'm about to hand you, or I call it out flat. If that's the kind of straight talk you want before your next big purchase, subscribing costs you nothing and keeps this stuff coming to your feed. That's the whole ask. Because those 3 checks I promised at the start, this is where they change how you shop forever. Let me give them to you right now. Check number 1. Find the parent company before you find the price. Every major tire brand rolls up to a handful of global giants: Michelin, Bridgestone, Goodyear, Continental, Sumitomo, Pirelli, Hankook, Yokohama. Before you pay a premium, ask one question: who owns this budget brand and who owns the expensive one next to it? If the answer is the same parent, you've just found a badge tax. The consequence of skipping this check is simple. You overpay hundreds of dollars for a corporate logo instead of a corporate difference. Check number 2. Read the treadwear rating molded right into the sidewall. It's part of the code called UTQG. You'll see a number like 400, 500, 600. Higher generally means the compound is designed to last longer. A tire rated 500 is built to wear roughly twice as long as one rated 250. This number is stamped on the rubber itself. No salesman controls it. If a premium tire and a budget tire carry a similar treadwear number and similar load and speed ratings, you're looking at 2 products far closer than the price suggests. Get this check wrong, and you buy a soft, fast-wearing tire at a hard-wearing price. Check number 3. Match the load index and speed rating to your door jamb sticker, never below it. Open your driver's door. There's a sticker with your factory tire size and its ratings. That load index and that speed rating are the safety floor. This is the one place you never downgrade to save money. A cheaper tire is only a smart buy if it meets or beats those factory numbers. Get this wrong and you're not saving money, you're risking a blowout. Get it right and you shop with total confidence. Run those 3 checks and something changes. You stop being a guesser standing at a wall of confusing names. You become a buyer who can't be upsold because you already know who built the tire and what it's rated to do before the salesman opens his mouth. If you want the full breakdown of every brand family, every badge tax, and every counter trick mapped out in one place, I put it all together in a book for you. It's called Sticker Shock, and it's part of a series that includes Deep Drive and the Smart Driver's Playbook. Together they cover every move that happens between the moment you pull into a shop and the moment you drive out, so you always know what you're actually paying for and why. You can find all 3 linked in the description at behindthecar.com for $97, and every page of it is written the same way this channel runs. No sponsors, no fluff, just the numbers. Now let's get back to the wall, because the next parent company is one of the biggest on earth. Bridgestone, the largest tire maker in the world. Premium positioning, strong performance lines. The Turanza and Potenza names carry real weight, and people pay top dollar for that blue and red badge. Here's what got quietly folded in. In 1988, Bridgestone bought Firestone for about $2.6 billion. Firestone, an American name older than most people's grandparents, founded in 1899. That entire brand, all its history, all its factories, became part of Bridgestone more than 30 years ago. Today, the 2 share engineering resources, share manufacturing footprints, and share a corporate parent that sits at the very top of the industry. Watch the price split. A Bridgestone Turanza or a Weatherpeak can run $160 to $190 a tire in a common size. The Firestone, Weather Grip, or Destination line, same parent, often lands around $110 to $140. That's another $40 to $60 per tire gap, another couple $100 a set for a name that answers to the same headquarters. And here's the mechanism again, because it repeats on purpose. Bridgestone spends the money developing the flagship compound and the flagship tread pattern. Once that development is paid off, a refined version of that knowledge flows into the Firestone line at a lower price point. You're buying proven technology one tier down, minus the premium marketing budget baked into the sticker. My verdict on Bridgestone versus Firestone: if you want the absolute top of the performance envelope, the flagship earns it. For most family cars and daily drivers, Firestone is the same Empire's tire at a working man's price. But let me show you the one where the badge disguise is almost complete. This one fools even careful shoppers. Continental, a German brand with a serious reputation. Their extreme contact and true contact tires post excellent independent test scores, especially in wet braking. Enthusiasts love them. And they price like the premium product. They are often north of $170 a tire. Here's the name sitting right next to it that most people think is unrelated. General Tire. General Tire sounds generic. It sounds like a store brand. That's exactly why people skip it. But Continental bought the General Tire and Rubber Company back in 1987 for around $650 million. General has been a Continental brand for more than 35 years. So the generic-sounding tire is built by one of the most respected engineering names in Europe. Most people think General Tire is a no-name budget line. But what's actually happening is you're looking at Continental Engineering wearing a humbler badge. The price proof: a Continental True Contact Tour might run $170 to $200 a tire. The General Ultimax, riding on that same parent's engineering, often sits around $110 to $140. That's a $50 to $70 gap per tire. On a set of 4, you're staring at $200 to nearly $300 in pure badge tax. And the General Ultimax isn't some throwaway. It regularly posts long tread warranties, some versions rated for 65,000 miles or more, and it holds up well in independent wet and dry testing precisely because of the parent behind it. My verdict on Continental versus General: the name that sounds like a placeholder is one of the best kept value secrets on the entire wall. If I'm buying for a daily driver on a budget, the General is where my money goes. Now, let me flip the script completely, because so far I've shown you premium badges and their cheaper twins. Let me show you a brand that got so good the premium giant bought the whole company. Cooper Tire, an American brand, independent for decades, known for solid all-terrain and touring tires at fair prices. For years, the smart money quietly bought Cooper while everyone else chased the famous logos. Then in 2021, Goodyear bought Cooper Tire for roughly $2.5 billion. Think about what that tells you. The biggest American tire name looked at Cooper, looked at its engineering, looked at its factories and its customer loyalty, and decided it was worth billions. That's not a company buying a weak brand. That's a giant buying strength. So now Cooper sits inside the Goodyear family, right alongside Kelly and the Wingfoot itself. The Cooper Discoverer all-terrain line and the Cooper Endeavor touring line carry that engineering muscle, but they still price below the flagship Goodyear equivalents in a lot of fitments, often by $30 to $50 a tire, while that older independent pricing structure lingers. And Cooper's reputation was built the hard way on truck and SUV owners who beat their tires across gravel, snow, and highway miles and came back for another set. That kind of loyalty doesn't come from marketing. It comes from tires that lasted. My verdict on Cooper: this is a value brand that earned its way into a premium family by being genuinely good, not by being cheap. Buy it with confidence. But the biggest value stories in this whole industry aren't always American or European. Let me take you to the brands the original equipment world already trusts, even though buyers ignore them. Falken, A lot of people see that name and assume it's some fringe budget import. Here's the truth. Falken is owned by Sumitomo Rubber Industries, a Japanese tire giant that has been making rubber for over a century and builds tires under the Dunlop name for much of the world. Sumitomo launched Falken back in 1983 specifically as a performance-oriented brand, and it grew into a serious player in motorsport and street tires alike. So when you buy a Falken ZX or a Wild Peak All-Terrain, you're buying the output of a top-tier Japanese manufacturer, not a garage operation. The Falken Wild Peak AT line in particular has a cult following among truck and SUV owners for delivering serious off-road capability and a real snowflake severe snow rating, often at prices $30 to $60 a tire below the biggest name equivalents. Most people think Falken is a risky off-brand. What's actually happening is you're buying Sumitomo Engineering, the same company that helps build Dunlop, at a friendlier price. My verdict on Falken, especially on the Wild Peak line, this is one of the smartest dollar-for-dollar buys in the truck and SUV world. I'd put it on my own vehicle without a second thought. And there's one more overlooked name I have to put in front of you because the original equipment story here is huge. Hankook. Say the name to a lot of American drivers and they wrinkle their nose like it's a cut-rate brand. That reaction is going to cost them money and quality. Hankook was founded in 1941 and is one of the largest tire manufacturers on the planet. And here's the fact that ends the argument. Hankook is an original equipment supplier for cars rolling off the line from serious automakers, and it has supplied tires for premium and mainstream vehicles alike. Think about what original equipment means. A car maker put that tire on a brand new car at the factory after testing it against everything. That's a stamp of approval no advertisement can buy. And Hankook runs its own value ladder. In 2014, Hankook launched Laufen as a budget-friendly brand built on Hankook's engineering. So even the cheap Laufen on the shelf traces straight back to a global original equipment powerhouse. A Hankook Kinergy might run $100 to $130 a tire, and a comparable Laufen can drop below $100, both backed by the same Korean giant. My verdict on Hankook and Laufen: stop wrinkling your nose. This is original equipment engineering at a value price, and the car makers already voted with their factory lines. Now I've saved the most honest entry for last, and this one breaks the pattern on purpose. Because up to now, every value brand I've shown you had a premium giant standing behind it. This next one doesn't, and I'm going to tell you the bad with the good, because that's exactly how you learn to spot a gold mine from a trap. Siloon, a Chinese tire maker founded in 2002, no century-old pedigree, no premium European or Japanese parent handing down technology. It's a genuine budget brand, and it prices like one, often well under $100 a tire, sometimes down near $70 or $80 in common sizes. Now, let me give you the honest downside straight from real owners who've run them. Some drivers report more road noise as the tire wears. Tread life on certain lines doesn't match the long-wearing premium tours, so that low price can be partly offset if the tire wears faster. And the wet weather braking and high-speed composure generally won't match a Michelin or a Continental. These are real trade-offs. And anyone who tells you a $70 tire performs identically to a $200 tire is lying to you. Here's the honest reframe though. For the right use, Siloon and brands like it are a legitimately smart buy. A trailer that sits most of the year, a work truck racking up city miles where tires get chewed up fast regardless of brand. A commuter beater where you'd rather replace cheap tires more often than sink premium money into an old car. In those cases, buying the honest budget tire and replacing it sooner can cost you less over time than one premium set. The key is this: you run my 3 checks, you confirm the load index and speed rating match your door jamb, you check the treadwear number so you know roughly how long it'll last, and you buy it knowing exactly what it is, not because a salesman fooled you into thinking it's something it isn't. My verdict on Siloon and the true budget brands: they're not a scam and they're not a miracle. They're an honest tool for an honest job, and knowing the difference is the entire skill. Now let me talk straight to the driver who's been nodding along thinking, I already buy the cheap tires, this isn't for me. Stay with me, because it absolutely is for you, and it's built for the exact car in your driveway today. Here's the thing: buying cheap and buying smart are not the same. Plenty of budget shoppers grab whatever's cheapest without checking the two numbers that actually matter, and they end up with a tire that's underrated for their car or wears out in a single season. You can be the budget buyer who also never gets burned. That's the goal. So here's what you can do this week. With no shop, no appointment, and no special tools, walk out to your car, open the driver's door, and find that sticker on the jamb. Write down your tire size, your load index, and your speed rating. Then look at the sidewall of the tire that's on the car right now and find the treadwear number in that UTQG code. That's it. Now you're holding the 3 pieces of information every salesman assumes you don't have. Next time you shop, you match those numbers first and talk price second. That single habit puts you ahead of almost everyone standing at that wall. And keep this in your back pocket. The lowest sticker price is not always the lowest cost. A tire that costs $40 less but wears out 20,000 miles sooner is not a deal. It's a slow leak in your wallet. The treadwear number is how you catch that before it happens. Let me bring this all the way home. What you just did is take back money and leverage that was quietly slipping out of your pocket at the register, one set of tires at a time. That's real dollars, hundreds of them, staying with you and your family instead of paying for a logo, because that's who you are. You're the kind of driver who refuses to keep paying the badge tax for your own ignorance. You keep your cars running. You do the math. And you're done being steered toward the expensive sticker just because it's the name you recognize. Now, here's the next trap waiting for you, and it's a big one. It's not the tires themselves. It's what happens at the counter after you pick them. The road hazard warranty, the nitrogen fill upsell, the lifetime alignment package, the shop fees stacked onto the bottom of the ticket. That's where another $100 or more gets added to a job you thought you'd already priced out. If you've already been hit with one of those add-ons and it left a bad taste, tell me in the comments which one got you. I read them, and it tells me what to expose next. And subscribe right now so you don't miss the video where I break down every one of those counter add-ons and show you which ones are worth it and which ones are pure profit padding. And do me one favor before you go, drop a comment and tell me which of these brands is riding on your car this very minute. Michelin, Goodyear, Bridgestone, Continental, Cooper, Falken, Hankook, or one of the honest budget names. I want to know what you're rolling on, and I want to know if this changed how you'll shop for your next set. Because once you can see the badge tax, you can never be sold it again. If today's breakdown helped, let me take you further. Inside the Honest Garage, this video keeps going right where it stopped. Got a question? You ask me directly, and I answer you myself. You'll belong alongside smart drivers already in there. Just point your phone's camera at the code on the screen. It takes a minute, and you can cancel anytime with one click. No risk. Now that you know which tires to trust, let me show you something mechanics keep quiet. There are 5 cheap car batteries that quietly outlast the pricey ones, saving you real money. That video's starting right here.